Hey, you guys, welcome back. It is another in our occasional series with our pal, the no-name gourmet, who actually does have a name. It's Chef Michael Roberts. How are you, brother? Great to see you.
I'm good, Terry. How about you today?
I am very well. We've already got some heat happening. I think you can probably tell on the screen that we've got our cast iron fired up. And tell us about what we're going to cook today for National Truck Driver Week.
Yeah, it's National Truck Driver Appreciation Week. It's a good time to say thanks to the 3.5 million men and women who deliver probably almost everything that we touch or eat or drive or text on.
It's true.
Yeah, a lot of things come in trucks. Sometimes the trucks go on trains and then they go back to the trucks, but yeah, they do a lot of that. So this week we're also sponsored by the people at Small Batch, Southern Recipe, and they actually make a product that's over here on the counter. Yeah, I opened some so that you can try the raspberry habanero ones. We're doing a recipe where we're going to do the breakfast of champions. We're going to have fish today.
All right.
This is a recipe contest called, I think it's called Pedal to the Kettle, where they challenge truck drivers to come up with recipes that they could actually make in their truck. And so this came from an actual truck driver.
Nice.
So we have some whitefish here today. The recipe calls for pollock, but I got some Pacific rock cod because that was the most available thing.
Gotcha.
This is kind of a standard, just what we do with fish. The only non-standard things are that we're going to cook just like we were in the truck, so we're going to use the Ziploc bag method. I'm going to take this fish real quick, put it in what is really just an egg wash. A lot of people who've spent more than 5 minutes in the kitchen are familiar with this technique.
Sure thing.
In fact, I even do this sometimes when I go out because it's a lot easier to do it in the bag sometimes,
right,
than it is to dirty a bowl. So we're going to get a little egg on our fish. Our coating is actually the crushed up pork rinds.
Okay.
And you may notice on the counter here I have a fabulous rolling pin.
You do. I was about to ask you about the rolling pin.
Well, I was going to say if you get out of line, I'm going to use it.
I see. Okay. Fair enough.
No, I'm joking. Anyway, just a hint that you could use that or a wine bottle or something else to crush up your pork rinds if you're going to cook this recipe at home.
Gotcha.
And then once we get these covered and coated a little bit in the pork rinds, I'm going to pull this one from the bottom. Then we're going to carefully, very carefully, lay these down in the pan. But the flavor that this trucker decided to use for the recipe is the habanero ones with blackberry.
Fantastic. Wow, and you can smell it. That's interesting. Just putting it in the oil for just a moment. I can smell those fruity.
I'm just going to give that a shake, and then we're just going to let this fish cook through.
And what was you just used a phrase just before we came back from commercial about cooking fish that I had never heard before, and of course it makes sense, but I had never heard the phrase before.
Well, people ask me, when you cook fish, what kind of rules do you have? And there's really only 2 rules. It's 2 words. It's hot and fast, and that doesn't matter whether it's shellfish or whether it's finfish, because in order to keep the moisture in and in order for things to come out properly, those are the 2 keys. So that's part of why we're using cast iron today, is that it retains the heat. I'm going to take a look and see how our first one's doing. Peeky, peeky. We're going to let that go for a minute. Anyway, so I also learned something else in preparing to come here today.
And that is?
Well, a lot of people are familiar with St. Christopher. He's
Yes.
the patron saint of travelers. But there's also a organization called St. Christopher Truckers Relief Fund. They're a nonprofit organization, and they actually provide financial assistance for truckers who have health issues and need some financial help. And there's some information probably on your website. It's actually on the notes that we have for today on how to get in touch with them.
Indeed, and I'm going to put my glasses on and see if we can get that.
I think it's something like stfo.org. And
yes. Porkrinds.com.
That's
you can visit porkrinds.com.
That's to get the food product.
Very good. And I do not see the website.
At any rate, they're the sponsors of the contest where these recipes have originated. It's called Pedal to the Kettle.
Nice.
So from your truck to, there we go, we're going to get a little brown on there.
Yeah, it looks nice. Crispy and golden.
Yeah.
And I noticed you got some of those blackberries.
These are blackberries. I figured we'd put that on as a garnish because that's the flavor of the pork rinds.
Fantastic.
The folks from Southern Recipe Small Batch, this particular kind of pork rind comes in a few different flavors. They have some that are dill, some that are salt and pepper.
Cilantro lime.
Cilantro lime, for those of you who are just dying to dip that in your salsa, that's probably the one to go for.
I suppose so, huh?
The other thing about this product, Terry, that people should be aware of is that it's lower in fat than some other snacks, which is why they're encouraging truckers to use what they have. Oh, always use enough oil, even if you need a little bit during the cooking process. They're lower in fat than some snacks, but they're also high in protein. I didn't realize pork rinds were high in protein until
I did not know that either.
I bought these and hadn't had some more. It's been a while between pork rinds for me, but I do like them.
I've eaten pork rinds. I find that I'll use them as a substitute for chips or crackers or something like that for a while, and then I have to take a little break. But they certainly have been interestingly enough, as a guy who grew up in Iowa, I don't ever remember anybody eating pork rinds in a place where we make
a lot of pork.
We make a lot of pork in Iowa, so
absolutely.
Go figure. I had to move to Atlanta, Georgia, to get
initiated into the pork rind.
Absolutely, boiled peanuts and pork rinds. Those
are
two things I had never had any experience with before. So.
So all we're watching for now is for our fish to finish. Looks like it's getting pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close, huh?
Want it to flake. So
and a recipe you can do right in your cab.
Yeah, yeah. There was a little talk between my assistant and I yesterday. I said you probably would want to cook this on some device like a hot plate or something like that.
Right.
Even though we joked that if your manifold was hot enough, you might be able to cook your fish. But yeah. I was
just getting our pal Robbie in my ears saying you could probably cook your fish on the engine. On the engine. You guys were on the same page of the recipe.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy.
Oh, that's great. Well, it looks nice. It's got a nice color to it. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna give this one more turn because we went a little short on the first side, I think. But we're pretty close to the end here.
Fantastic. Well, it's always good to see you. What's new with you this fall? You got special events happening, or?
Yes, some. And amazingly enough, maybe to some people, even this early in the fall time, I'm already booking a lot of events for winter. I already have 7 days in December booked at this point, and we're just barely over the line into September. So, if people want to call me for holiday events or parties or things like that, now's a good time to do it, so that when you're looking for the particular date that you need for what it is that you want, you can find it.
Fantastic stuff.
So anyway,
nice looking fish. Thanks to the folks from Southern Recipe Small Batch.
Yep.
And thanks to all of the truckers out there. It's a hard job to do.
Oh, they work as hard or harder than any professionals that I know of out in the work world.
It's so true.
Including those of us in hospitality.
Indeed. It's great to see you. Tell folks where they can find out more information about you and the No Name Gourmet.
If they're looking for me and they maybe want me to come and build some fish like this for them,
it's beautiful.
Personally, it's www.nonamegourmet, all one word, .com.
Excellent. Great to see you.
It's so good to be here.
Thanks for some fish. We forgot to bring a fork out, so I'm going to try it during the commercial break. A little bit of fish with some fantastic coating on it. We appreciate you. Good to see you. We'll see you again soon.
I come every time I'm invited.
Good to see you, Michael. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more after this. Please stay tuned to Park City Television.